Welcome, everyone. This is Coffee with Chief, and I have a treat for you today. I'm a big fan of this man, and I've been looking forward to this. I took the entire day off today just to talk to this man because I think it's going to be awesome. So I have with me Sifu Singh. Everybody, say welcome to Sifu.
Thank you so much, sir. It's a real honor to finally get to meet you and sit down and have a chat with you.
Absolutely. This coffee is going to taste really good talking to you, my
Got
friend.
you right there, buddy.
So I'm in Illinois, and Sifu is in California. This is a wonderful, I think, avenue for me to talk to all these martial artists all over the world. He is one of many greats that I'm going to talk to, and the theme for this is the warrior's journey. And let me tell you guys, if you guys don't know Sifu, he is definitely a warrior. I've watched him since I was younger. I've seen a lot of his videos. I've seen a lot of his clips, and this guy is phenomenal. So what I want to do, sir, is that kind of ask about your background, who you are, where you've been, the training you've done, so these guys know who you are, and really like dive into your warrior's journey. So uh, if you want, you can have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes and introduce yourself.
Sure. I was born in India, and I grew up in Toronto, Canada. And my dad traveled quite a bit, and he was a sea captain, and he was also a big fan of Bruce Lee and Muhammad Ali.
Wow.
So you can imagine one of the earliest memories I have is my crib, and over the crib there's a poster of Bruce Lee and Muhammad Ali, but not like this. They're like bent forward, so I'm
Oh,
looking
that's
up.
awesome. Yeah.
So that's my earliest memories as a child. We immigrated to Canada, and my dad still traveled a lot, and he wanted me to, being alone in Canada with my mom, and I had two younger brothers, be able to defend myself. So he enrolled me in karate. So I did Washin Ryu karate for about from 6 to 19 years old.
Wow.
I competed in point sparring and forms and things of that nature, and did pretty well. And so that was my upbringing in that. And in that, I had some great senseis that, would talk about Musashi, and they would talk about Goren no Sho, the Book of Five Rings. Like I was 13 years old and I started to read it, and we'd have to talk about it. That was a
Yeah.
big part of it. But for me, what happened was, as you notice, I don't have any hair, and yes, it makes me more aerodynamic. But but once upon a time, when I was 13 years old, actually, my hair started to fall out to alopecia.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And so, you know, freshman year of high school, between the first quarter and the second quarter, all my hair was gone. And,
Wow.
I remember that was the very first time that, my sensei said, these are the moments in life that define a man. And how you have to, I would remember just sitting and breathing and meditating, because I would feel so bad. I would feel so angry. I'd feel so ashamed. You don't feel like you belong. Hey, we're going back to the early 90s. The Rock wasn't around yet. There was no
You're
Mike St.
right.
Paul dudes around. You know what I'm saying? So there was nobody to look up to. So, who I looked up to, who I
Right.
found was, you remember Yul Brenner?
Oh, absolutely. I love that
Right?
man.
Magnificent Seven. I was like,
Oh,
all right, there's
yeah.
finally a cool
Oh,
guy to
yeah.
look at, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. The
There
King and I, wonderful movie.
you go. There you go. And so I did that, and then I moved to California, on actually a tennis scholarship, and
Uh-huh.
went to the University of California, Davis, where I did a degree in computer and electrical engineering. And I was still always interested in martial arts, but going to college at that time and focusing on tennis. And then one fine day, I've told the story many times. I got jumped in a street fight, wrong place, wrong time.
Wow.
We came to a bonfire to celebrate a bonfire, end of the year kind of graduation thing. Last car to arrive, and one of my other colleagues and mentors, Professor James Hunden, who'd be great for your show. I'll introduce you guys after. Uh,
Awesome. Awesome.
Circle jujitsu man, from back in the day, said to me, son, good things happen to you when you least expect it, and you're having a good time. So we got there, we were the last car. So what do you do? Crack open a few beers, and then literally out of the darkness, 25 gangsters with their turf showed up,
Wow.
all iced out. They were looking for someone, and they thought my roommate was the guy they were looking for. And you know how they do a classical entry. Hey, can I have a cigarette? They ask the guy next to me.
Sure.
You look over there, boom, they grab him. And the guy next to him had a 2x4. He had ripped off a 2x4 from a fence. I knew it was fresh because it still had the nails sticking out of it,
Wow.
right? And he had his arms kind of draped like that. His shirt was open, and he had a tattoo on his chest. I remember, and he swang. I did an upper block. I hit him, and then boom, it's on. You know, that chaos moment is on. But that day changed my life in many ways. That's the first day that I found flow. You know what I mean? That was the day I found flow in a street fight.
Absolutely.
And that day, and boom, everything slowed down.
Sure.
And in this chaos, it was weirdly very beautiful. It was this great moment. I just didn't know what to do, right?
Sure.
Because it wasn't like being in a dojo. I didn't know what to do. And so I did nothing heroic. I ran around while people tried to chase me between cars. It looked more like a rugby match. And they're pounding on my roommate.
Uh-huh.
And divine intervention happens. And the two guys they were looking for walk by. As they walk by, I remember, they're over there, eh? I hear that.
Wow.
Over there. I drag them, go away. And, you know, by this time, this was in Ocean Beach, San Francisco. And up above the hill, somebody had already called the cops or something. You could see the lights come in. So I came back. I'm like, hey, I'm going to get the license plate. You know, I've been hit a few times and, you know, you can't see properly. The adrenaline's rushing. And as I try to make out the license plate, the guy who's in the driver's side jumps out. He's got a gray sweatshirt on. He pulls this thing like this and reaches down. And I turn around and I start running. I know I ran faster. I could have beat Usain Bolt at that moment.
Right.
And I heard 2 gunshots. I don't know if they were directed at me, direction I wasn't finding out. And that day changed my life, you know? So what happens that day, after that day, I feel angry. I thought I was a tough guy, right? And couldn't do anything. So I'm angry. I feel ashamed. And then I'm just mad. I am so mad. I'm so angry. Like, this is never going to happen to me. You know, you feel violated. You feel less than a man. That's all these things are going on in my mind.
Sure.
But at the exact same time, I'm like, but I discovered this moment.
Right. Absolutely.
Crazy moment, right? This moment of stillness and peace in the chaos. And then that kind of spurred my journey. Later that summer in August, I got hit by a car. I was driving, again, in San Francisco is a bad place for me, I think.
Oh, I guess so.
I was interning at Franklin Templeton Investments that summer, and I was going for a business meeting in San Francisco at night, and it was at the corner of Sansom and Sacramento, and a cab driver ran a red light, smashed into my car. They smashed into my car. I went into the telephone pole. I was able to get out of it, but I tore all the muscles in my abdominal column, and I injured my L4 and L5 vertebrae.
Oh, wow.
But here's the beautiful thing in that I also, I was supposed to be on World Trade Center building number 2 on the 92nd floor on 8 a.m. of 9/11, because they were sending me to New York for that week.
Wow.
I missed that, and I'm sitting there watching that happen. And then those events that summer, I was like, okay, I think there's more to life, and I think I have to re-question, because at that moment it was the stock, it was the .com boom. So all I was driven by was stock options, money, sports cars. That's it. I was like, hey, I'll do engineering. I hate it, but I'll do it to do that. And I'm of Indian background, so if you're not a doctor, engineer, or lawyer, you're a loser, right? So it was like programmed in.
Right.
But that started my journey, and then, you know, the next year I graduated. I got a great job, and when I got that great job, it afforded me the luxury to train with whoever I wanted, wherever I wanted, anytime, any place in the world.
Absolutely.
So then I sought out the best street fighters I could get my hands on, and Bruce Lee, The Tao of Jeet Kune Do was the other book my sensei had given me when I was 13. I didn't understand it at the time.
You know what's funny about that book is that I just ordered the new hardcover edition of that. I have the old 1972, 74 paperback, you know, Tao of Jeet Kune Do, but I just ordered just the other day the hardcover, the anniversary edition that they're selling. So I can't wait to see that.
It's a piece of art.
Absolutely.
It's a piece of art. You're gonna really enjoy it. So, you know, I read it earlier. I didn't understand it. And then now I started to dive into it, Bruce Lee, and then started getting into street fighting and thinking about that. But at the same time, I started to get into the more Tai Chi, the healing, because I healed my back. And so I started both avenues at the same time. And in that study, when I went down to Jeet Kune Do and the Filipino Kali angle, and as I went kickboxing and jiu-jitsu and wrestling and boxing, went down that angle. And then I went down the traditional arts of Taiji, Wing Chun, Qigong, Neigong, and that angle, like two separate paths.
Sure.
And it's been an amazing journey since. And the more I continue to train, the more I realize how much I don't know.
I think that's all of us. I think that's all of us. Wow, what an amazing story. Like, people don't know, just watching your videos and watching all your stuff, that you were injured, you got jumped, you got your ass whooped. I mean, that stuff most people don't know unless they know you. And that's kind of why I like doing this show, is that, I learned so much about another Tuhan that I consider my mentor, and some of the things that he does. And it's amazing, the background, the story, the personal journey of these guys. And yours definitely, that's amazing. I mean, you have injuries, back injuries, abdominal injuries, it could, for some people, that would have been like the end of it. You would be possibly just be happy being an engineer, just sitting back in front of a computer and say, I'm safe right here. This is it. I'm not doing anything else, but you're right, man. That was some kind of divine intervention there. Something.
For sure. It's like oftentimes I think when, since we're talking about being a warrior in the warrior's way, we always have an option to choose. Do we look at our obstacles as blessings and curses? That's the narrative that we choose to write.
That's beautiful, brother.
It's our choice. And
that's beautiful.
That power is my choice to how I'm going to react to it. And I'm not going to give power to a situation over me, no matter how bad it may be. And that's the wake up call, right? Because otherwise it's a blessing. Those were angels that jumped me on the beach. Otherwise I would be, not such a good person right now.
Sure. Absolutely. Right? Yeah. Right.
And had the car accident not happened, we wouldn't be talking right now. And if the car accident happened, I wouldn't have met my wife, who's the greatest thing that ever happened to me.
That's beautiful.
You know what I'm saying?
That's beautiful, man.
And I wouldn't be alive either, because I would have probably been in the World Trade Center.
Yeah,
so.
Right. No, I'm serious, man. A lot of things happen for a reason. I truly believe that each path is unique and special for everyone. But I've heard you say those words before, but let me ask my first question. What is a warrior in your own definition? What is a warrior?
I think that the warrior spirit, so my teacher said to me that the warrior, there's 4 stages that they have to go through. And by the end stage, you realize what it's really for. Because the difference between a warrior and a fighter in general is that a fighter fights for himself, a warrior fights for others. So it's always,
I love that, bro. I love that.
You know what I mean?
Love that. I love that. That's exactly how I feel.
And that's when you can't be beat. You can't beat me because I'm not fighting for me. So, and if I'm going to fight, it's only going to be for my family or for somebody else. So now you could say righteousness, or that you have a code of conduct that you operate by. And the 4 stages he explained to me as we went through it, he's like, okay, the first stage is a martial artist. So you got to be able to defend yourself and your loved ones and everybody around you. You got to be able to protect people. The next stage of a warrior is that you've got to become a healer. You have to be able to heal people. And now healing people, I'm doing my Chinese medicine degree. It's on hold. I was in year 2 of it right now.
That's awesome.
It's on hold from, because COVID at the moment, but you have to be a healer. But the healing is not just from a physical healing. We're also here to heal people mentally. If people are afraid all the time, or they're too angry, they need to be healed, because obsessive thinking is a dis-ease. If your mind is not at ease, it's a state of dis-ease. So you're always fighting this battle. So you've got to be healing. So the first fight is physical. The next fight is healing. Then fighting against disease, like whether it's a virus or thoughts of the mind.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next stage is you have to be a scholar. That fight is against the cultural trance, because that's where we have to educate ourselves to understand that this is the way of the world, may not really be the way for you. And what is the real truth there? Are you following patterns and acquiring patterns of everybody around you and just following around them? Or have you had the ability to see truly for yourself and choose? Are you choosing, or are you just reacting, or have habits that you learn from other people? And the final stage is that of a priest or a mystic, where now you're forging your connection with the divine, something greater than yourself, so that you know that, hey, the reason I'm here can't be about me. So how do I get myself out of the way? Because if it's about me, that just doesn't even make any sense.
Right,
You know,
right.
why am I really here? What's my mission field? And the mission field is really simple. The teacher says, you know, we're here to work on ourselves so we can be of good to other people. It's that simple.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Man, you're blowing my mind, bro. Because, the first three questions that I was going to ask, you've covered already in a single statement, that's so profound. It's amazing. I was going to ask you, what skills do a warrior need? But you've kind of covered that. And, the attributes, the most important attribute of a warrior, you kind of covered that. But here's one question. How do you become one? What is the path to becoming a warrior? Obviously, personally, I know each path is different, but what
Yeah.
are the common core for the path so we can show people the way, or help them see the way. And I think that's the journey you're on, brother.
So there's three battles. There's three battles. So Sanshin, right? Talk about the three
Sure.
battles.
Yes, sir.
So the three battles: the battle of the body, the battle of the mind, and the battle of the spirit.
Yes, sir.
And so the first one is the body. If you're in pain and you're feeling weak and you're feeling tired all the time, you're not going to be any good to yourself. You're not going to be any good to your family. You're definitely not going to be able to defend anybody. So that's the first place we have to start, is the physical body, that we have to make it strong. It's our right. Our God-given right is to become as strong as possible that we can do. And in the world today, when we're talking about like fitness, what does that mean? I'm talking about strength to endure, strength to overcome, strength that is applied directly in fight and flight, because that's the real strength. So if you look at that strength, there's a simple thing to think of it. We have to be able to move fast. We have to
Absolutely.
be able to lift heavy, right?
Absolutely.
And we have to be able to explode. We have to be able to. So we say that run fast, hit hard, lift heavy.
Absolutely.
Those are the things we have to be able to do, because that's directly related to survival for us as a human being, as a human animal. That if I could run, if faster I can move from point A to point B is going to determine how well I can get to prey, get away from prey, or you're a hunter, that, or in a fight from between an enemy. Then
Absolutely.
I have to be able to hit hard. I have to be able to hit hard, and that's the
Absolutely.
body mechanics. Whether it's a punch or swinging a stick or wielding a dagger, then we have to be able to lift heavy, because, hey, you got to be able to push a dude off you. You
Oh,
got to be able
absolutely.
to carry something from one point A to point B. You got to be able to carry the kill back to your village. So
Yep.
that's the first one. Then the one of energy. That's the next place, is that energy. There's a life force inside of us. Whether you want to believe it or you don't want to believe it, there is a life force that you can call it bioelectricity. You can call it chi, prana, life force, mana, whatever you want to call it. It's there. We feel it. But what do we do to build our energy? So there's a war going on over there too. And that war is, what do we give our energy to? That's the whole thing. So you can meditate, you can do Tai Chi, you can do many things to increase your energy. But I think the first place we have to stop is, where do we give our energy? And we give our energy freely. As teacher says, you can't, nobody can take your power. You give it to everybody. And one of the main ways we do it is complain, criticize, and condemn. If you spend your day complaining, criticizing, and condemning, you're just giving away your life force to everybody around you. You just give it away.
Oh, I'm with you. I'm
Free
with you.
check.
Yep.
Let me just give it to you.
Yeah, I'm with
Let me
you.
just give it to you. So you have to become aware of those patterns. And then the next thing is, there's three blocks that we have to fight to release that we acquired. We have come along, and we didn't have this, but we acquired it from our parents, our siblings, our teachers, our colleagues, friends, whatever. First is the need for approval. We function in this world because we need people's approval. We're afraid of failure. We're afraid of what people are going to think of us. That's why public speaking is the number one fear in the world. It's not sharks. It's public speaking. It's not like something going to eat me. It's like public speaking.
Right.
And that doesn't make sense. Then the next is the need for security. So it's like we're afraid that we feel fear, that we need to always be looking around. That you need this need for security. And then the other one is need for control, where you have to be able to control your outcomes. So if you're always in a state of need for security, need for control, need for approval, and you're always operating from there, and then you're always complaining, criticizing, and condemning, you're just giving away your life force. So that's the first place we have to fight. And then the next one is the spirit, which is the thoughts of the mind and the feelings of the heart. Where is that? Where are we orienting from? And then once we can stop those drains, we can start to say, okay, let's start with my actions. If what I say, is it necessary, true, and kind? Do I give blessings? Do I give love? Do I honor people around me? Do I actively do that? Do I lift people up? And that's the way we start to operate. And I think that as a warrior, your first step of warrior, it's not just kill, kill, kill. It's not just fight, fight, fight. But the cool part is that's where we learn humility. That's where we learn the discipline. That's where we learn like toughness, but toughness in the sense, as you know, of as Master Hickson Gracie says, the ability to make yourself comfortable in an uncomfortable situation.
Absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
the key to everything, you know?
Yeah.
And so I think to start, you know, in a long way, you have to consider the body, the mind, the energy, what you give it to, how you build it, and then finally your spirit. Are you in high spirits? Are you joyful? Are you open? Are you loving? Are you kind? And are you aware? Those are the people you want to be around. You don't want to be around people who are not happy. That sucks.
You know, I'm going to ask you this, and I actually don't know the answer, but do you have a book?
I do have a book coming. Yeah. I wrote a book in 2016. It's called Mind Boxing.
Uh-huh.
How to Win the War Within. And I have been, if you heard of Jack Canfield, he wrote Chicken Soup for the Soul.
No, I can't say that I have.
He wrote the Chicken Soup for the Soul series, the big series and stuff like that. And he wrote the foreword to my book in 2016.
Wow.
And so did the one of the former training officers at the Secret Service and a few other people that read it. And then I realized that book needed like a fine wine to age. I needed to age a little bit more to be able to get the message outside to the rest of the world. And so this year I will be releasing it because the war is in here. It always has been, you know, and I've been blessed to have teachers to teach me the philosophical aspects, but the functional. How do we functionalize it? Like from fighting to life, to how do I use it with my kids, to my wife, you know, what the point is. Because I was very angry at one point, you know.
I can't believe that.
I was a pretty angry person, man.
I can't believe that. No, it's wonderful to hear that you're coming. I mean, because your words are just so amazing to me, you know, and your ideas and, you know, how you convey those just to me. I mean, I'm drawn to your ideas, to your philosophy, to your words. So a book would be great. Sign me up, man. I mean, seriously.
Yeah, we got 2 books coming. There's Mind Boxing, and then there's the Philosophy of Flow. That's also coming. And then I have a book coming, which is
that is intriguing.
Yeah, with Black Belt Magazine. So they're all waiting on me. So I've been working on them, but training always comes first to me. So everything else always happens.
Yes, absolutely. Wow, the philosophy of flow. Wow, amazing. So that brings me to another question here, and you're hitting all these questions. Like I said, you know, I had this list of questions, but some of it you covered with one single answer. So, so what is a warrior lifestyle? I mean, what do you see a warrior doing on a daily? You know, I have an idea of what I believe a warrior should be doing on a daily. In fact, I'm a stickler to routine sometimes, you know, to make sure that I get my workout in, I get my 100 arrows a day. And, you know, you recently did like 10,000 kicks or, you know, and, you know, I'm pretty regimented as far as my schedule goes. You know, it's rare that I actually come off of schedule. I think that's the military in me. You know, I'm pretty like set in my schedule sometimes, you know. But what do you think, you know, is a warrior lifestyle?
Number 1 is discipline.
Absolutely.
Number 1, non-negotiable.
Absolutely.
Non-negotiable. My son, he's 5 years old. He has to wake up every day before school and train. He doesn't have a choice to train. He doesn't have a choice to be like, oh, daddy, do I like this or do I not like this? I'm like, no, what are you talking about? You're 5. And I'm going to instill discipline in you. You don't have to be a martial artist when you grow up, but you will have discipline. We're
That's
living in a
beautiful.
society that is filled with, part of my, there's no other way to put it, but it's like snowflakes. There's just it's just not the same anymore, and we got to be tougher. Mental toughness starts with discipline, and it's that day in day out discipline, and but the principle of constancy and not consistency. So consistency is like, oh, I'm consistent. You know, the people are like, oh, I went on a diet and I was consistent for 6 weeks, and then
Right.
that will happen. But
Right.
constancy is, hey, the sun, it comes out every day and it gets dark every night. That's always happening. So you wake up. I wake up at 5 o'clock every morning, and then I train, and I don't negotiate with my mind. So I tell my students that never hit the snooze. If you hit the snooze, you already lost, because you lost your mind. And what do you do to get those victories over your mind? Because the war is with you. I have no war with anybody else but myself. And you know, impeccability is the next part. Am I impeccable in my thoughts, my actions, and my words? Those are in my control. I must be impeccable. So in my thoughts, I have the power to see situations for what they are. I can go down negative, or I could turn it into a growing and learning experience. Then the next thing is my actions. All right, why am I eating this? Am I eating this because I want to eat this, or am I eating this because of no other reason? If I don't choose, and I'm just like, oh, that other person ate it, so let me put that in my mouth and go that way, right?
Sure.
So there's that part of like, am I choosing what is going on, or am I coming out of a reaction or coming out of a habit? And my words, what do I speak to people? You know, words can be the most devastating thing you could do to somebody. You could punch somebody, they can get up, but you could call them a worthless piece of whatever, and it could ruin their life.
Absolutely.
The power
Absolutely.
of our words, similarly the other way, of what you say to somebody. You know, oftentimes, you know, we have this idea that we're here to serve and change the world. Maybe you're here to be sitting on a bus for that one moment that there's somebody next to you that's like in a state of a very bad place, and they may be thinking of killing themselves, and you said something kind and they didn't. And that was why you're here. So it's like it's that. And I know you know the next one, memento mori.
Oh,
Every
there you go.
man must die. Dude,
Yeah.
I wake up every morning, I'm like, another shot.
Oh
Let's
yeah,
go.
absolutely.
And when I go to sleep at night, I'm like, I might not wake up tomorrow, and it's okay.
Right.
And
Right.
that's that concept, because then I don't carry the BS from the day over to the next day.
Yeah.
And all the things that we try to make up as a big thing don't end up being a big thing, and then they don't end up being an energy drain.
Right.
And I think that's the key thing. And as a warrior, your routine and your discipline. So even working out, for example, sometimes people want to work out, and they want to work out because they want to look good.
Right.
I'll tell you what will make your workout totally different. It'll change it forever. Next time you go swing your kettlebells or lift something heavy or do your deadlifts, in your mind, have the thing that I'm doing this deadlift in case there's a bird building that's burning. I'm going to have the strength to go in there and carry somebody out. That'll change your ability to go work out or not work out.
That's powerful, brother. That, I mean, you know, at the Combat Warrior Academy, one of the things that I preach to whoever, you know, comes and trains and so forth is, you know, I even have it in this coin that's coming out, PMA, positive mental attitude.
Wonderful.
You know, in a nutshell, I see everything as a win-win situation and never a win-lose situation. I think we've been trained to think win-lose for so long that it's like we're born into that culture of win-lose. If I don't do this, somebody else does it, I lost.
Yeah.
You know, but I look at it in a very positive way. Everything that's happened to me in my life, going to war, you know, training with the Marines, the Navy, and other foreign military, it's always been that mindset, that positive mental attitude. You know, I jumped in the water. It was 30 degrees outside in Korea to swim out 5 miles. And most people say, my God, why do I want to do that? Why do I need to embrace that suck, you
Yes.
know? But man, after I did it and I came back and I'm like, wow, I just did it. You know, that was wonderful. That was positive. You know, I learned something. I learned something about myself. that was a win for me. No matter how, you know, sucky I thought it was, but just changing your mindset. And that's kind of what you talked about, and
No,
that's
I love
beautiful. I'm going to use your words to kind of pass along to the people that I train with, because your words are golden. Those are nuggets that need to be shared.
I just
So
got good teachers. They're not my words, they've been passed down forever, and I'm just a conduit, And one thing I want to tell people who just what the example you gave, what was so wonderful about that though was that you did it for yourself, not because
absolutely,
somebody else had to do it. And when we're talking about what does a warrior do, what does their day look like,
yep,
they put themselves in suck voluntarily. They put
absolutely.
themselves in ice baths. They push the workout. But they do it for themselves. And I think that I love that story. And I think that's one of the main things of that is that you're doing it to yourself and nobody's looking. So that's man, that's the thing, because that's when you got it, or you're talking to somebody who's got it.
Yeah, man. I truly believe, are you going to do the right thing when no one's looking? That's who you are, and you need to know that. But you got to look in the mirror and be honest with yourself, because like you said, the war is in here, and we lie to ourselves a lot, every day. When you wake up, you lie to yourself. I hit that snooze because you know what? I got 5 more minutes, you lie to yourself,
Yeah.
every day. But, I want to try and instill in these, the people, I'm kind of different. I don't tell people that they're my students. I don't have students. I have training partners, whether they've been training for a year, 6 months, or 10 years, we're training partners, we're growing together and we're discovering together. So I don't have students per se, I have training partners all over the world. But I want to instill in them that it's your journey, it's your mindset. I'm just sharing with you the ideas that I got from my teachers in the past, my brothers, my father, my uncles, Sifu, my Tuhans, Grand Tuhan. These are the words, these are the positive mental attitude that they've shared with me. And I want you guys to see that and look for yourself, so you guys can maybe get those attributes, that's something I can share. So, man, your words, I'm telling you, I can't wait to read your book. How do I pre-order?
Oh man, you're already on the list. As soon as it comes out, I'll have
Oh
one.
man, I love it. I love it. I think this is a good moment to where I want to kind of show our audience how wonderful you are, how graceful you move, and how you embody the martial artist. So I'm gonna go in here and share a screen. Now there's gonna be no words here. All right, it's gonna be just here we go. And you can see it here, I believe. Can you see it?
Oh yes, sir. Yes.
All right, so let me play it. And this is from your Jeet Athletic Association, the best trapping combination develop half beat timing. You are so smooth.
I got a great partner, man. That's Sifu Clay Pratka in Texas, Jikado.
Uh-huh.
My top guy. He always makes you look good.
Wow. From high to low to high. That's smooth. And I noticed that your movements are not forced. They're so natural into the next event, to the next beat, to the half beat. It's smooth.
Oh, thank you. Well, I try to put the whole theory on my shirt. Be water, my friend.
Absolutely. I love that shirt, by the way.
Yeah, so we did here. We mixed some Wing Chun with Filipino martial arts with the gunting.
Uh-huh.
Back to boxing right after that.
I love how JKD flows from one art to the other. I mean, that's just a beautiful thing for any martial arts, you know, and wow, that series right there is just phenomenal right there.
And for the people watching, this is an attribute development drill. You know, it's like
Yeah.
to get your timing down and stuff like that, to get just to work that half beat and the work.
Yeah. That's phenomenal. And you know, I don't know if you can hear what it's saying there, but you talk about attributes and you talk about uh you know building those attributes that carry on to other systems. You know, you mentioned knife over here as well, you know. And I love that part, you know, and I see how you transfer those attributes over to other weapon systems, you know, not just punching and so forth, but uh, I do have other clips here of you kicking as well. You know, your hands or feet is phenomenal, but you know your stick work is awesome as well. So I mean, there's nothing that anyone should not like want to learn from you. You know, it's just a pretty good flow that you have. You know,
I
so
love martial arts, man. You know what I'm saying? It allowed me to find me. You know,
yeah,
like, you know what I mean? It allowed me to find me. It allowed me to do me. You know, and it's
man,
the
I
greatest
hear
gift
that.
I've had.
I hear that a lot from a lot of people I talk to. You know, people say, you know, I found my flow in this or in that, or you know, and I love that part because it's so personal. You know, it's in the spirit. You know, it's in the spirit. It's not just in the body or the mind. It's in the spirit. You know, when these guys show their moves per se, you know, it's you can tell it's ingrained in their spirit and not just you know just doing a technique. It's much more than that. Yeah, and I can see that in a lot of martial artists, you know, and you're one of those guys that I see that's pure and natural. You know, you're not memorizing anything. You're just flowing into it. I love that part, you know. So next question, what is the role of a warrior? I mean, you know, there's a lot of warriors out there, you know, but I have a different idea of what those warriors should be doing. What do you think the role of a warrior is?
You have to serve. Simple. Is you have to find your way to serve, whether it's being a teacher, uh, whether it's being a martial arts teacher, whether it's being a teacher at school. Serve, whether it's in the military. That's the greatest warriors are the ones in the military because they serve. They sacrifice, they serve, and they surrender their lives for something greater than themselves. That to me is that's the gem right there. That's what, when you can get yourself out of the way to that level and for something greater, then you can, it's not about you, you know. And I think that's the greatest lesson that I've always learned is what a warrior is not, if we start that way.
That's a great way to look at it for
Right? A
sure.
warrior is not arrogant and he's not entitled. That's the thing. And what a warrior is humble, open, and detached. They're always humble. So it's like, hey, they might have done a technique 1,000 times and somebody comes up and shows them it again, but well, show me that again. Let me see that again. They're humble. Not only humble to learn things they don't know, but they're humble in the things that they do know. They're always willing to learn. They're always willing to see something more. So the opposite of arrogance. And because they're humble, then they're open. So they're open. It's like, you know, when you're around somebody that's that way, they're open. They invite you in. They open their arms to you. They invite you in. They're not like this. They're not like it's mine. They're not covering and closed off. They're open, right? And then they're detached. They have an ability to hit a switch and detach their emotions, their patterns, their previous victories and defeats, the past, the future, detach from everything and see it for what it actually is, and not have these filters of what you want it to be, what you think it should be, they're not fixed then, because they're detached. Where the opposite of that is, you look at somebody who's arrogant and entitled, they're automatically closed off. It's my way or the other way. Then they're fixed and they're rigid. And then you start with, the whole master fooling you.
Sure. Yeah.
Right? It's like, hey, this is how it must be done. And
Right.
not done like this, then you're and so I think that's a good way maybe to
I love it. I love how you view things, from a different perspective, and not just a one-way perspective, but you kind of look at it at multiple direction, and kind of like Jeet Kune Do, it's not just one way; it is multiple ways. I love it. I mean, I don't know Jeet Kune Do as well as most, but of course, everybody grows up wanting to be Bruce Lee, right? I mean, I know I did. So I read this, I read that, and I read, a lot of the, what I want to know more about Bruce is where to get his ideas from, and how did it come about? There's a lot of great quotes from Bruce Lee, but I want to know his mind, where he got it from, how he grew up and who was he with, and, how did he come to like Jiddu Krishnamurti, great philosopher, so that's what I want to know. And that's kind of what this show is all about. It's about you, Sifu. It's about your journey. It's about what you can share with us, because I've learned a lot just talking to you for the past few minutes here, because your words, like I keep saying this, but your words are golden, I'm gonna say this. Not a lot of people say the words that you're saying, So it's a treasure when you find someone that it's so eloquent with the words like you are. And I really honestly, I keep saying this, but I can't wait to read your book. I'm not a bookworm, but when I see someone or something that is very intriguing, and your book sounds intriguing, both of your books sounds
I'm just obsessed. I think that's what it is it's an obsession. And one of the things is, like, you asked a great question about Bruce Lee, right? And one of the things about what I learned from Bruce Lee, let's put it this way. What I've learned from Bruce Lee is the process of questioning and the process of internal discovery. And what he learned was not his. That's the thing we have to understand. The quotes were not his.
Right.
The quotes are other people's quotes that, through a journey of self-discovery, of trying to find out who he truly is, that process of self-actualization, of getting away from the masks of who we think we are and who we want to be, to really find out who we truly are and ask those questions. That's the journey that we all have to go on. If we all go on that journey, we can come to the similar conclusions. That's the whole thing. And sometimes what ends up happening is that we have a guiding light, and then we make guiding light a god. And then what ends up happening is that, because that guiding light becomes a god, we don't then do the work necessary for ourselves to transform and change into the version of ourselves we could be. And that's where I think that the disconnect happens. And this is in every martial art. I mean, even if you look at the symbol, the Jeet Kune Do symbol, this symbol is what I went deep into. Because this symbol is not a Jeet Kune Do symbol. This is a Tai Chi symbol.
Absolutely.
Right? It's a Tai Chi symbol. So if the man is intelligent, he's pointing us to the way. He's pointing us to the Tao. That's what's called the Tao of Jeet Kune Do. He's pointing us to the Tao. So you start reading the Tao Te Ching. You start reading Lao Tzu. You start going into Taoist philosophy, which I've gone deep into to the point of becoming a priest. And one of the things is that it's there. Everything is there, but it's in all cultures. It's not something to the Chinese or to the Filipinos, the Hawaiians, the Indians, the Buddhists. Everybody has it. It's that process of self-actualization and removing the mask of who we pretend to be to everybody. And can we truly be who we are and be okay with it?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And that's freedom. That's freedom. But we got to work really hard for it, because, there was a time in my life when I used to wear a wig and hide from the world, because I thought that I was ugly and the world wouldn't accept me and I wouldn't be cool and all that kind of stuff. Then you make a false mask of I'm a tough guy and I'm extra cool and this and that. You create this story and that's a real virtual reality you start living in. And I think that's the whole thing. It's like we're all wearing masks. Can we take them off one at a time and be okay being ourselves? And if that can't happen, then
Yeah.
it's
No, yeah.
all a lie. Anyways,
Absolutely. You know, like mentioned before, you got to truly look in the mirror and really, you know, look at yourself and be truthful. You know, that's the one of the hardest things that I think all of us have to do is to be truthful to ourselves. But everything you're saying, man, it really resonates with me. I truly believe, you know, a lot of the words that you're saying. I'm going to ask this next question. You know, I think I know where you will go with this, but it's part of the questions. Is a warrior born or he or she made?
I think it can be both.
Wow.
I think it can be both. I think you could be born a certain way and become better at it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that you could be born another way and acquire it,
Wow.
because that's why you're here, because you weren't it in your last lifetime. And if you're in it and you are born with it, then you haven't finished your mission. So it's I think it can work both ways. I think it all depends on the circumstances. It all depends on the person.
Mm-hmm.
And it always comes down to action. What's the action you're going to take? So maybe somebody's born a warrior, but they don't do the right actions.
Sure. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely, man. There's some folks that I've trained with while I was in the military. They have God-given talents for being physically fit without even trying, you know. uh, but there's other aspects of their journey that wasn't quite at the peak level, so they had to work on it, you know. So, no, I get you, man. I love that answer. Both, you know, a lot of people, you know, that have asked that too. You know, they either go one way or the other. I like your analogy. Action, action. That's beautiful. That's exactly I think how I would look at it is
Right? Because one man's gift is another man's curse.
absolutely,
Right?
absolutely. Yep, absolutely. That is I'm telling you, man, your words are like so profound. They're amazing to me. So time to share another screen. That clip right there, man. How do you develop the hand speed? How do you develop that control? Uh, what specific things do you need to train in order to do that?
The number one thing, I get asked this question a lot about the speed
Yeah.
and the fluidity, is relaxation. Can you turn, so everybody, almost always the um, repetition and efficiency of movement and all that, which is of course is very important, but everybody does that. The next thing is it's my Tai Chi that allowed me to get those attributes, because I spend so much time feeling which muscles are moving, which muscles are not necessary, and then actively turning off the muscles that are not necessary. So if I work on turning off the muscles that are not necessary, then therefore those muscles will not create tension when I'm doing whatever move I'm going to take. The move is the shape, whether I'm going this way or I'm doing a stick or whatever I'm doing. That's just a shape. But the water inside the cup is what I want to be like. And so if I move from the inside out, then it doesn't matter what the shape I take is. And so therefore I have, they call it like a Tai Chi animal, where if for example, sometimes, people, I don't know if they can see this or not, but if you raise your shoulder, right? You raise your shoulder and then what moves? The shoulder moves up and the hand comes up, right?
Mm-hmm.
But When the shoulder comes up, it creates tension, and then you have to override that at some point when the hand comes up. But really, the thing is, what if I took the shoulder and I sucked the shoulder back into my spine and I vibrated my spine to make the hand come up? So therefore, then there's no tension. So I'm just sucking everything in. So now I move when I move my spine, my hands move. So then it's like the spine is a cable, the hands are a cable, the legs are a cable, and everything's a cable that moves. See, right now when I'm moving just my hip and then my shoulders and things of that nature. But it's taking time and saying, okay, how slow can I go? And then turn off. Tension, turn it off. Tension, turn it off. Tension, turn it off. Tension, turn it off. Relaxation means nothing, because I think that in this world today, everybody's like, just relax. What's the action of relaxation? It is finding tension and letting go of it on command. So if we could do that, then the body knows, hey, that's not necessary in this movement. So I could just let it go out without any effort.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. I'm not saying that I trained a lot in Tai Chi or anything, but I may have taken one or two courses in Tai Chi. I went when I was stationed in San Diego, I was part of a Taoist sanctuary in San Diego.
Very cool.
Yeah. And so, a lot of, Yang and Chen style, Tai Chi, very cool to me. I obviously moved towards Chen style Tai Chi is a little harder, a little bit more forearm bang here and there. And, and the guy that taught it was also teaching, South Dragon Kung Fu. So I was like really intrigued in it. So I said, all right. So I'll do a trade. You show me all this stuff, and I'll show you guys how to swing a stick.
Nice.
So that's how I wasn't. I didn't have a lot of money. Obviously, in the military, you don't get paid a lot, and so I did a lot of trading of ideas and stuff to be able to get some training and so forth. So. But yeah, no, I believe in your analogy of relaxation. It's through the action and the ability to have your mind control those, and you said it, those particular muscles, and I kind of do that when I use traditional archery as a way to relax people. I mean, it's kind of like a Jedi mind trick.
Yeah. That's great.
Because the arrow tells you exactly who you are. You cannot hide it. You can't take it back. The arrow tells you who you are.
Yeah.
Because when your arrow goes to the right, it tells you did it. Nobody else did it. The wind didn't do it. The target didn't move. It's you. So you have to look within yourself and ask yourself, why did the arrow go to the right? Yes. And then adjust accordingly. So that journey of archery is actually the greatest journey. It's not whether you can go to your anchor point and hold your hand right. No, it's the feel of that arrow moving from the bow to the target. It's that end point. It tells you, it's like your punch. When you punch, it's whether your accuracy, your mental state, your flexibility determines whether that punch was efficient or not. That's the telltale right there, because you can punch really quick and really fast and touch somebody in the head, and if they didn't move, obviously your punch wasn't quite what you wanted it to be. It's like, you just touched the person. But same thing with archery. And archery is all about controlling here the mind, because you have to tell yourself how to do it.
Yes.
In fact, one of the biggest problems in archery is what we call target panic. You release the arrow before it's time. You move the bow before it's time, and you can tell those arrows just go to the right, to the left, high or low. And what I teach these guys is that you have to control the entire process and not one portion of the process. So all of it together, makes you more efficient and more effective, not just one aspect of it, so.
That's pretty cool. I bet you, like, you also, I have a compound bow, and I started shooting it, and I'm a very beginner at it. And But when I did it, it gives you an opportunity. I was like, wow, this is meditation. This is,
Absolutely.
I get to be in the still point of it. And then, you know, when you've got the physical part, then you've got the breath relaxing. But then I'll bet you do this, is that with your mind, you, like a hologram, you see the trajectory of the path that the arrow is going to take, and you see it, and then the arrow fills it as it
Yes.
goes there, right?
Oh man, I tell my guys that train archery, you have to watch the arrow through the entire process. If you don't see the arrow, you're missing the point, you know, because it's the entire mental state. You have to be in the flow in order. In
That's
fact,
it.
that's why I use traditional archery.
Uh-huh.
It's a way for me to Jedi mind trick these guys in, like, again, through relaxation and a mental state, because you don't have sights on a recurve or a longbow.
Yes.
You very traditionally watch your target, watch your arrow, and it all comes together in a perfect moment to
Yeah.
hit that little tiny little dot that you're looking at. That right there is a, man, that feels so good. That is a very positive moment, you know. But I tell these guys that even though you missed the dot, you have to look at the win, which means you did it. You
Yeah.
watch the arrow. Now you just have to know what happened. And that's why you watch the arrow. And then there you go. And then, you
That's
know,
wonderful.
repetition, 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 you know. So
You know, and then that carries over, because then they get to watch their opponent. That you're teaching them the skill of watching and observing and listening and reading, and then they start to watch their thoughts. Like, oh, why am I thinking this? Am I getting into this mental oblivion and just going into this round
yes.
circle of obsessive thinking? Oh, I don't need to. Let's let it go. That
Yeah.
letting go, right?
Yeah.
It's a
No,
one.
absolutely. When a beginner in archery, I usually ask them, what happened? You know, a lot of their thoughts is like, I don't know what happened. I'm like, well, that's what we're gonna work on. You have to know what happened, and from there, you know, you can, you know, carry it on. And then we start swinging sticks around. You know, they're like, well, what happened? Like, well, it's the arrow. You gotta watch your stick. Make sure you know muzzle awareness. You know where your stick is gonna hit, and so forth. So that control, that mental state, you know, that flow, you know. Oh man, I love talking to you, man. You are a lot of words of wisdom, you know. So this is awesome. Again, I thank you for like taking the time to sit down and
Oh,
talk.
it's my honor, sir. It's my honor. I've been watching you as well for a long time on Facebook. I love watching your posts and stuff. And Grandmaster Darren Tabone, who we both know, he's my Serrata teacher, speaks very highly of you. And I was like, hey, what a cool time to, you know, I spend a lot of my time alone. I always have. I spend
Uh-huh.
most of my time is alone, you know, and it always has been.
Uh-huh.
And whether I'm writing, reading, training, introspection, whatever I'm doing, contemplation. So I just love getting a chance to just chop it up with somebody.
Oh
You know,
man.
what's up?
Love it. Love it. So I got one last question for you. There was a word game I was going to play, but I think you've covered all those words anyways. So one is not really a question, but it's I'm just going to read it. Based on your journey as a warrior, mentor, leader, what advice would you give to the warriors going through the journey?
Okay, two things. The first thing is that always cultivate your kindness and compassion. That's the first place to start. And the second, so I have this saying that says, kindness is my king, compassion is my queen. Pain is my brother. Embrace him, and he will walk with you forever. So the you know, the kindness is your king and compassion is your queen is pretty straightforward. It's your code of conduct. But when we
Absolutely.
look at pain, pain is my brother. So pain, I could look at pain and run from pain. And pain, by me pain, I mean anything that's uncomfortable,
Sure.
like you swimming in the ocean when it's freezing cold,
Yeah.
or sometimes we all go through very difficult periods in our life where it's very uncomfortable, where it's very painful. Somebody close to you passes, there's a sickness, there's a disease, you lose your job, it's time of COVID, there's chaos and there's discomfort and uncertainty everywhere. Embrace it. Embrace it as your brother, and it'll walk with you forever. It's just like, it is going to make you better if you embrace it. So don't fight it. Don't fight it. Don't avoid it. Embrace it. And if we embrace it, you're just going to come out better, and you will have saved a lot of energy. And there's a Warrior's Creed, and it's by Robert L. Humphrey, who wrote it after World War II. And for everybody I teach, I coach, or everybody I'm around, I'm like this. When I heard this, like everything in my body lit up as to the whole purpose and foundation. And it goes something like this: wherever I am, anyone in need has a friend. Wherever I go, everyone is a little bit safer. But when I come home, they're happy to see me. It's a good life.
Oh, amen, brother.
It was like, that's it. That's when I heard it. And the first time I was like, that right there. Because wherever we go, as all of us as warriors, as martial artists, we're there to make the whole place safer, because we'll be the ones who take the action. Wherever we go, anyone in need has a friend, again, serving. But then the other key thing he said was that when we come home, that means our work, our tensions, our traumas, our stresses, we have a way to handle them. So they're happy to see us, that we don't bring it home. And then now we've got a good life.
That's awesome. That's in a nutshell what I'm looking for. That's phenomenal. Man, Sifu, you're a wonderful man. You're a highly intelligent man. Your wisdom is a treasure. I really sincerely want to thank you for spending some time with me. You know, the questions that I've asked, I mean, you've covered in and out and so forth in one single session. I truly, truly cannot wait for your books. And everyone that's listening, look for the book. All right. The books, I should say. Get you a copy. I'm telling you, this man has words of wisdom, and his philosophy is right on. So thank you so much, sir. I truly, truly appreciate your time today. So hopefully when this is all, COVID and all those restrictions, I want to come and train with you and listen to you and just really have a sit down and have some coffee with you, because you're an amazing man. So
me too, man. I look forward to learning from you as well, man. I've watched you move. Love watching the way you teach your students, and you've got some of those secrets from Grand Tuhan. So open that book up, man. We'll hang out, we'll chop it up, and have a great time. But
absolutely,
it's been my honor, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Your show is going to be absolutely wonderful.
Thank you. So this is Coffee with Chief. Again, thank you, Sifu. Combat out.